Hi! Welcome back to my TV, and for today's video, pag-uusapan natin yung ilang mga theories about self-awareness and self-identity. Let's begin. From Stevens of 1996, one can see that the self is always at the mercy of external circumstances that bump and collide with it. It is very changing and dynamic, allowing external influences to take part in its shaping. So, this is about understanding the vibrant relationship between the self and the external reality na tinatawag. This theory is called social constructionist perspective. In this theory, social constructionists argue that the self should not be seen as a static entity that stays constant through and through. Rather, the self has to be seen as something that is in unceasing flux, in a constant struggle with external reality, and is malleable in its dealings with the society. The self is always in participation with its social life, and its identity subjected to influences everywhere. Okay, alam niyo ba yung kwento tungkol kay Tarzan? Yung lalaking namuhay sa kagubatan ng napakahabang panahon na para siyang hayop kung kumilos. Kasi mga hayop din yung araw-araw niya yung nakakasama. So kung hindi pa niya nakilala si Jane, yung the love of his life, or kung hindi pa siya nakakilala ng totoong tao, hindi niya alam kung paano magpakatao. Are you getting the point? So the point is, human persons will not develop as human persons without intervention. You get that? After all, ourselves are not special because of the soul infused into us. We may be gifted with intellect and the capacity to rationalize things, but at the end of the day, our growth and development and consequentially, ourselves are truly products of our interaction with the external reality or sa lahat ng mga nakapaligid sa atin na pinagmumulan ng ating karunungan. A lot of people say, I am who I am. Yet, this statement still begs the question, if you are who you are, then what you are that makes you who you are? There are various definitions of the self and other similar or interchangeable concepts in psychology. Simply put, self as the sense of personal identity and of who we are as individuals. Right? Other concepts to self are identity and self-concept. So when we say identity, it is composed of personal characteristics, social rules and responsibilities, as well as affiliation that define who one is. While self-concept is what basically comes into your mind when you're asked who you are. According to G.H. Mead of 1934, under the theory of symbolic interactionism, the self is created and developed through human interaction. Basically, there are three reasons why self and identity are social products. Una, we do not create ourselves out of nothing. The society helped in creating the foundations of who we are, and even if we make decisions, we still operate in our social and historical context in one way or the other. Second, we need others to affirm and reinforce who we think we are. We also need others as reference points about our identity. Minsan kasi, yung reaction or yung feedback ng ibang tao sa atin may determine what kind of human person we are. Halimbawa, sinabi ni Juan that he is a good singer, but his performance and the evaluation of his audience says otherwise. That will have an effect to Juan's idea of himself, one way or another. Third, what we think is important may also have been influenced what is important in our social or historical context. Ibig sabihin, the way you choose or make decisions nakadepende kung ano ang present na nararanasan mo or commonly practiced by your family. Say for instance, yung pag-aaral. You go to school and you find it really important because you grow up in a family that valued education. Or kaya naman, mas importante sa iyo ang pera or magkapera kasi you grew up in a low-income family and na-realize mo kung gaano ka-importante ang magkapera kaysa mag-aral. So yung importante para sa iyo ay nakadepende sa impluwensya sa iyo ng environment mo. Social interaction and group affiliation therefore are vital factors in creating our self-concept. And when we are aware of our self-concept, that is called self-awareness. And we have two types of self to be aware of according to Carver and Scheer of 1981. Una, the private self. Ito yung internal standards mo, yung private thoughts and feelings that you have. Pangalawa, the public self. Ito naman yung image mo in public, commonly geared toward having a good presentation of yourself to others, according to Hogg and Vaughan of 2010. Self-awareness also presents us with three other self-schema: the actual self, the ideal self, the ought self. Actual self is who you are at the moment. The ideal self is who you like to be, and the ought self is who you think you should be. Halimbawa, isa kang estudyante na mahilig sa basketball, pero medyo tagilid ka sa iba mong subjects. Yung ideal self, yung parang, yung part na gusto mong mag-practice pa para gumaling sa basketball. But you ought to pass your subject as a responsible student. So yung ought self mo, yung part na nagiging responsible ka on your studies. Get that? Self-awareness may be positive or negative depending on the circumstances in our next course of action. Self-awareness can keep you from doing something not good and can help you to be reminded about the things you should do. Self-awareness and group identity also has a great impact on our self-esteem, one of the most common concepts associated with the self. Self-esteem is defined as our own positive and negative perception or evaluation of ourselves. One of the ways in which our social relationship affects our self-esteem is through social comparison. According to social comparison theory, we learn about ourselves, the appropriateness of our behaviors, as well as our social status by comparing aspects of ourselves with other people. That is according to Giangiani and Tari of 2014. So, we have two types of comparison. We have the downward social comparison and the upward social comparison. So when we say downward social comparison, as the name implies, we create a positive self-concept by comparing ourselves with those who are worse off than us. Like, you compare yourself to someone na feeling mo mas maganda ka, feeling mo mas matalino ka, or mas magaling ka. Parang ganon. While upward social comparison is comparing ourselves with those who are better off than us. So kung titingnan mo parang angat kaysa sa atin. While it can be a form of motivation for some kasi parang gusto mo maging kagaya nila. Like, mas matalino siya, so gusto mo mag-aral pa. Mas magaling siya mag-basketball, kaya gusto mo mag-practice ng mag-practice. A lot of those who do this actually felt lower self-esteem kasi they highlight more of their weakness and iniquities. So parang nagkakaroon sila ng insecurity. Dito pumapasok yung idea na do not compare yourself to others, but actually okay lang naman just as long as hindi mo makakalimutan that you have assets and are unique from each other. Social comparison also entails what is called self-evaluation maintenance theory, which states that we can feel threatened when someone outperforms us, especially when that person is very close to us, barkada or friends natin. In this case, we usually react in three different ways. First, we distance ourselves from that person or we define our relationship with them. Yung iba nagiging tahimik na, yung iba naman nag-change of friends. While some may also redefine by being closer to that person, hoping that some may give him a certain kind of acknowledgement also. Second, we may also reconsider the importance of the aspect in which you were outperformed. Halimbawa, natalo ka sa isang talent competition. You might think that that talent is not really for you and you will find a hobby where you could excel, thus preserving your self-esteem. Lastly, we may also strengthen our resolve to improve that certain aspect of ourselves. Instead of quitting, you might join seminars, practice more often, and attend trainings to improve that talent. Achieving your goal through hard work will boost your self-esteem too. However, in the attempt to increase or maintain self-esteem, some people become narcissistic. Yung ugali na narcissism na over high self-esteem, self-admiration, and self-centeredness. Ito yung mga personality na masyadong pabida. Char. They always wanted to be appreciated, and this makes them a bad romantic partner kasi they engage in relationships only to serve themselves. So dapat kalma lang. It's okay to boost your self-esteem but in a nice way. Na you still have to consider the feelings of the people around you. People with high self-esteem are commonly described as outgoing, adventurous, and adaptable in a lot of situations. They also initiate activities and building relationships with the people. And in boosting self-esteem, you likewise boost your confidence. So you must control yourself to avoid bullying or abusive behaviors. Remember, we don't live only for ourselves. We have people around us to consider their feelings, and it's something that we have to respect. And that ends my presentation for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something. Abangan nyo ako next time for more videos. Have a great day!